Thank you. So I broke my beard trimmer. And, a few people have been asking about that. It was about 4 o'clock as I was getting ready to go out. And right in the middle of it, it just snapped. And a big streak went up my cheek, which was completely bald. Thereafter, I had to shave it all off. So I thought it would be good to start with a poem tonight, which is a warning against hubris. And it's My Ambition the Rival. He press gangs me on Saturdays as I'm sifting through the papers, when Archduke of my breakfast, I'm susceptible to my brilliance. In an autographed gown, he sits to my incredible scrambled eggs. My perfect coffee snuggles in his palm while he alleges my potential. To hear him talk is to promenade in chinos along a beach speckled here and there with everyone you've ever wanted on a rumoured Riviera. He thinks I could be huge. He hates me. His pep talk is a lure to go in absolutely nowhere, because why would I? While he talks, I'm already there. I'm the big papa. My memoirs are calfskin, and lifetime achievement is a pearly gong to paperweight my royalties. His plot against me is to have me, stay with him in eternal breakfast, where his whisperings may ravish me, his footsie work up to my balls. London poetry people, I'm actually going to do a little reading. I know it's not the fashion at book launches, but I told this to my family and there was much outcry. So, and I think a lot of people here maybe won't go to that many readings, so I thought I'd try and give them a bit of value for the night out. Well, I went to Heather Phillipson's and she just got up on a chair and read one and stood down again, and that seemed to be considered very cool. But this one was cool. I'm going to read a poem now called Dai George, which arose from a reading project run by Roddy Lumsden, to whom I owe a great debt of thanks for many things. And it came out of a surname project. You have to write a poem, whatever your surname is. Most were common nouns, the archer, the hill, things like that. Mine wasn't, and I think it was the only one who had a proper noun, but is of course, Dai George is the name of a pub in many places, and so I got to thinking what a pub would be like which had every single one of my relatives in it. Dai George. While most have for their smell the deep entanglement of beer in nylon underlay, this joint is scrubbed and temperance sweet, at least as far as the far corner, where Gran bequeaths her eternal stash of Loshin dance. There's Grandpa, strangling the swan, who dared to take a nip at baby Alf. And right behind him, Uncle Alf, lean and in his prime, crooning Haydn to a brace of pinnied sisters, and the highwayman who someone traced to someone's distaff side. There's our Huguenot great-grandsire, slopping in off the Pembrokeshire coast. He pontificates on the elect, sticks out a hand to feel for rain, moans his way east to Romney, and don't even get him started on the Treaty of Nantes. They're all in there, jammed like junked receipts in a filofax. Beyond them there's the Davis suite, and further back the Evely, the Jones, dimly lit, proliferating function rooms, packed with Thatchers and lay-preaching stiffs, each of them marrying in, each of them thwacking upon the table his own lame dowry of myth. Sunday visits, suicides, the gypsy someone had a tumble with, and hence their auntie's Persian eyes. They're all there gossiping as far as the dark back garden, ignorant of my love. Many thanks. A large part of this collection was written in New York, and sometimes I don't get around to reading the New York poems, and I haven't been lately because most of my readings have been in Wales, so I've been reading lots of Welsh poems. So I'm going to read a New York poem now. And it's written it's written for and in response to the poet Andrew Jamison, who wrote a series of New York poems, which ended up being rather miserable. He didn't enjoy himself over there. And so I thought, after I'd given him many good recommendations as well, so I was pretty put out by it when I read it. But this is what I wrote in response. And it's called New York on a Shoestring, for Andrew Jamison. Forget the High Line, AJ. This is how to see the place as locals do. Catch the L from an outer Brooklyn stop, where the street view spans a block or two of Puerto Rican flags and packed out stoops, and watch as the carriage doors admit successively more besuited cargoes. Soon a PA's daubing lippy standing up, while a tireless Wall Street brat gives up his seat to a pregnant hipster whose studded bra shows from underneath her ripped Dead Kennedy's top. They all wriggle on and off the shared chrysalis that is the train on which you play no less a part in some other tourist's perfect NYC tableau. At Union Square, the frat boys come and go, bulling about beer pong and René Descartes. Next stop, the immaculate PA departs and starts the perfect walk I have for you. Follow her to the Uptown interchange, or make for daylight on 6th Avenue. But either way, first revel in the lunge of 60 bodies through the underpass. This bit the guidebooks fail to mention. And even if they did, they'd only whinge about the sharp odours of shit and saturated fats, and whose rampant and unholy daily emanation our PA wretches, willing it just this once to change, through the power alone of 2 judicious squirts of Davidoff cool water. A Guadalajaran janitor, running late beside her, smells the shit smell too, her cucumbery scent, and before she's out of view, clocks her nose crinkle on a CCTV monitor. What he makes of that I won't presume. Whether or not he thinks, hey bitch, it's my city as well and you're stink. For AJ, this island here is rich and complex in its enterprise and junk, and the people who seek it won't conspire with our motives for them being here. We have the city and our dream for it. We think we're owed its thrumming nights and happy hours, either that or we're owed the plane fare. But these two know where their own dreams rank in the city's impossibilities. So track her perfume as she ducks and sprints to catch an Uptown one, or watch him as he crests on West 14th Street. Only you have to want this. You have to barrel out and barge your way through the columns of sun. I'm going to read 2 more poems. The first one's shorter, and it's another big city poem. It's such a wonderful turnout tonight, and thank you everyone for coming. But, you know, for all of the people who are here, it does make you think about people who can't be. So I'm going to read a poem which is sort of a lovelorn lament for a friend who's not around. He's not here at the moment either, the bastard. He's in Japan, as this poem makes it clear. Metropolis. Your oldest friend leaves a newspaper in a cafe far off, copying. He's taken residency for the day. A monk figuring his manuscript, pen nib trembling. Steam mixes with invading grain smells, burnt coffee, the paper cranes of tensile thought as he stitches another character. Cherry blossom filters to the floor, or snags neon, or doesn't bloom at all save for the tourist gardens. At times you hanker for spousal rights, permission to reject the proud, delicate feats of male friendship, and be with him in Japanese springtime, where he fumbles into new alphabets, and each word is an act of lacework. Thank you all. Thank you, Amy and Sarah. Thank you to my family. Thank you to all friends who've, most people here I think have probably known me more or less since I have written poems. So, yeah, thank you for encouraging me and buying me pints every so often. I'm going to finish with the title poem of the collection. As I said at the Welsh launch, we were debating the title. See, most people didn't like the claims office because it seemed a bit dull, bit of a received phrase. Sounded like a guide on how to claim your benefits rather than a new gem of Welsh literature. But I had this poem up, in the back of my mind, which I knew I wanted to stand for the collection a little bit. And I guess it got more political as it went on, this book. I think when I came back from New York, I was unemployed for a while, and I did shake myself out of it a little bit, and I started writing dreaded political poems. But this isn't about a normal job centre. The claims office. Dead centre of the central street. In a town whose principal industries depend now on the intimate administrations you can't outsource. Those of tans or care or vinegar. They pass but scarcely think what's going on. They assume it starts with an automatic door and comes to an end, as offices must, in switchboards, books, and obsolescent files, somewhere on the second floor. But beneath it sprawls a netherworld, which they'd find if they could only listen in other ways. If they could hear the password being mouthed on a century's worth of wind. Supposing they could do this, what might they find below? First, steps. Ineluctable steps, vanishing behind them as they made their way through the soil. A rail that curved towards an open plan monstrosity, more beautiful than all the square feet of offices to let they walk past every day above. Light the colour of liver disease, a pummeling foundry heat. And lastly, us, the vaporous and stinting clerks, whose fate it is to staff this ruined hall. This asphodel department where we find ourselves seconded, long after our deaths or uselessness were sealed in the breathing world. Our task is simple and without reward. We sift, we purge, we recommend, We store our findings in labelled crates. We are at work to keep the difficult awake. The intricate, the manual, the lost were never realised but hinted at pursuit of common spoil and hallowed space. We maintain the records of our memory, saving for posterity the string quartet that packed the Institute nights in a row, polio figures in decline and cricket scores, the order of service at a soldier's funeral, where Lenin was read and then Isaiah. What else? Yeah, we audit. We receive a copy of every word as it is uttered in their connected world, each email chain and press release, their action points and populated spreadsheets, love songs, funding reviews, dietary advice. We collect it all to analyse against criteria that their pragmatic world would reject, a spendthrift fantasy. We issue our futile counterclaims that one summer soon the Lido will be full, that the burnt heather will grow back gold, that God is a steel mould into which we pour molten yearnings, and where the two meet there rises an inflammable gas. Thank you. Have a great, buy a book.